a very useful lesson for intermediate to advanced students because it deals with a very important concept and incredibly practical. When exactly are you supposed to be trading, exchanging your pieces to get into the kind of pawn ending that you desire that will allow you to capitalize? So, easier said than done. I've mentioned not necessarily for beginners, it's an intermediate to advanced concept, but it is important to understand. Okay, let's just focus on the current tutorial here, and we're going to go to other scenarios as well, dealing with the same thing. Okay, it is whites to move. Let's look at the pawn structure here. How are the pawns and on what squares are they situated? So the white pawns are on white squares, therefore, well, except this G3 little guy here. So the black bishop that moves on dark squares would find it impossible to hit the pawns. One. Secondly, there is the knight on c6 that actually provides defense to this guy and this guy. Good. Those actually pawns on a5 and e5 are attackable by your light square, dark square white bishop. So you would be potentially able to attack this guy or this guy in the future. Therefore, the c6 knight must disappear. So we're going to remove that defender of a5 and e5. They obviously have to take back. And now you start to actually turn the whole thing into your favor by playing a move like bishop to d2, which targets the a5 pawn. And now black is actually in serious trouble here because they either ignore the threat, that means you're going to be taken and you're going to be creating a pass pawn, going for promotion, of course, or they defend, playing bishop to b4, but to which you will be taking regardless. They will take back, and again, you've got a pass pawn. And if you guys remember the promotion, the square that announces how many steps you actually need to promote your pawn into a queen, you just notice that the black king is completely helpless to be stopping you for promoting. So that's that kind of tactic strategy that you need to keep in mind when you go towards the end of the game. So then again, now they move the king, but again, no consequence, no positive stuff for your opponent here. You've won. This position here. Okay, what do you think you should be doing now? When black played a5, they actually wanted to, to get rid of those guys here and actually create a favorable position for black, but they were actually ignoring an incredibly strong response for white here, and that is, my friends, rook to c5. And you would say, that doesn't make any sense. What does that mean? Well, let's just analyze it. Let's just take it by elimination. If rook goes away, you're just going to grab a pawn. Thank you very much. If they take you, of course, you're going to take back. But look how powerful the pawn on c5 is. The pawn on c5 is actually blocking the b7. c6 is already stuck, but the b7 can't move. If they go b6 or b5, you're going to capture. If it's b5, you guys remember the en passant, you're going to take, and then you only need 2 squares to promote your guy, okay? And whatever they try to do, you've got a pawn majority on the king side, okay? Versus 2, which, by the way, are isolated pawn, therefore easily targetable. So now you're going to move the f4. Look at those guys, how powerful, how connected they are. King gets closer to supporting them. And really, you've already created a passer here. They take, you're going to take, oops, so they capture, you're going to capture 2 passes on G and H columns, and unapproachable by the black king, you instead will be able to play e4, e5, going for this guy, and finding your way actually to taking here, whilst the black king will stay busy trying to stopping those pawns. So that's the kind of thing that you would like to explore and go for. Another scenario here, guys. You would say that it is so compelling for black to actually block with the black queen, right? And you would say, oh, that's it, I'm blocking, the queens will be exchanged, I'm going to go for promoting. Actually, if you have time on your clock, hold your horses, don't rush it, because if you play queen to g6, it's a disaster. You play queen to g6 in terms of you're not going to lose, but actually you are going to stalemate. And now the shocker comes right now because the king moves on to a1. If you take, I dare you, take the queen, because if you take it now, there will be a stalemate. It's just unbelievable. All right. Whereas the correct move here would have been just nicely b3, blocking check from the white queen, which, by the way, has no other checks to give to the black king. That one can't be done. this one can't be done. There is no more checks after b3. And of course, they will have to move the queen, and you will have access in one way or another to attacking the king. So always take your time, settle down, don't rush it unless you have a few seconds on the clock, which is an entirely different business. But in the future, if possible, never rush, because you're going to get into this. He moves away, and now that's already a draw. They get away with the draw. You take, and obviously now the white king not in check, can't move, draw right there. Okay, let's maybe look at one or two more scenarios, guys. I'll try to keep it under 10 minutes now. Okay, we're having a very clear situation here in which you will be gaining access quicker to the c6 pawn once the rooks have been traded. You are going to play rook to h6, checking, a sort of a skewer, they say in chess. You're going to get this guy. They will have to take it back. They have to take it back, you know, and when they take back, you're going to move your king closer, either d3, e3, or c3. It doesn't matter. And they try to, so let's just say takes, you're going to move, king comes, you're moving to c4, and suddenly you notice, guys, they have no access either here, nor here, nor here, okay? And even if they push the pawn, you're able to just simply move the king around or just push this guy, and that's it, you're winning. Let's have a look maybe at another idea here. So that's important in terms of diagonal opposition that leads to direct opposition now. So you want to exchange the pawn on b6. Sorry, the bishop on b6. You play bishop to d4 now. Obviously, it's pinned. Even if they refuse to take, you could take their guy. And now, very important piece of pawn ending, you need to create a diagonal opposition that leads to direct opposition. If you're moving to c4, you're going to draw because they're winning opposition. You will not have access to attacking the a5 black pawn. So what's important to understand here, it's the diagonal opposition. You've won the diagonal opposition, and now you win the direct opposition. Okay? It really doesn't matter what they play. If they move to the right, you're going to play to the left, and you're going to take this guy. If they play on b6, you're just very nicely now moving over to d5. If they play on a6, you're going to play c6. Again, they have to move away. You're going to get access to this guy. You don't need to believe me. Let's say they play this. You play this. They play that. You're getting closer. And then again, they will need to make way for the king to actually attacking the a5 pawn. Maybe we're going to go one more exercise, guys. And then we're going to take a break for today. Let's have a look here. Oh, that's a nice. Should you take, shouldn't you take the knight on c3? You actually should take, because the key is this guy needs to disappear, and then you will be able to pushing the g4 and then create a passer. Absolutely do not leave the knight on the board now, because the knight will actually be able to playing a defensive role here. So you will not be able to successfully pushing this guy to the end. So we are going to take the knight first. King has to take. And now don't do nothing with those guys here. Don't do nothing with this guy here, because they're going to be pushing forward. Absolutely don't do that. G5 is absolutely key. And now G4, crazy, you would say, wait a minute, why would I take it? Well, they can't take with H, because you're going to be creating a pass pawn, and the promotion square will not, after they take and you're moving forward, that's the promotion square, and the king can't reach in time. And if they take with F, the same thing applies. You're going to take, and actually you're going to have two passes. Impossible for the white king to stop them. So guys, I hope that was useful. We're going to pause it for the time being here. It's maybe an intermediate to advanced concept when exactly to trading your pieces to get into the that type of pawn ending that actually favors you. Okay, so I hope that was sort of useful. Subscribe to this channel, guys, and meet me on the live stream so we can discuss further, maybe on this topic and other chess topics as well. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you soon.